We have 100 days to make an animal empire in Stardew Valley, but we're not allowed to use any crops at all. Can we do it? Who knows? Let's get straight into the video. We start off our adventures into Stardew Valley by naming our farm the Star Farm. On day number 1 we are met by Robin, who tells us about our new farm and our new journeys becoming the Stardew Valley's best farmer. Once trekking all the way to our farm, we manage to find Mr. Mayor Lewis waiting for us. He hands us the new keys to our farm, and here we go, our journey can begin. So we get our first box, and we get some hay in our box. Now, obviously, we are only allowed to use animals in this Stardew Valley playthrough, which is completely different. Obviously, no crops are allowed on our farm at any point. So we go into our new coop, and we meet Beans, of course, and our other little guy, also named Toast. So Beans and Toast, I put down some hay for them so they could have some food, and then I moved on to starting to clear the farm. Now obviously I would have so many items, and we only had one row of bag space at this moment in time. So I put down a chest, and I could actually colour the chest as well, which was a pretty cool thing, I have to admit. After a very strenuous day, I decided to get some sleep. On day number 2, we had a message from Willie telling us that at his shop he had a little surprise for us. And this was in fact a fishing pole, a bamboo pole. And obviously if you get a fishing rod, what are you going to do? You're going to catch a fish. So we got our first sunfish, which was really cool. On day number 3, I didn't really do much on day 2. I decided it was time. It was raining, I didn't know what to do, so I chopped down some more trees, as you obviously do. As it was raining, I didn't really have much to do, so I spent the whole basically day just clearing our farm, and then I headed off to sleep. But we did level up in level 1 foraging, so we got some wild seeds and some field snacks, which was going to be pretty useful. On day number 4, obviously, we got our first egg. Our first egg! Could you believe it? Beans and Toast were old enough now, and we can actually fill the hay. There we go. And then I decided it was my time to go and take the wood that I'd created to fix this bridge in town. The reason I wanted to do this is because you can get some coral, you can get some sea urchins, which sell for a lot of money. On day number 5, we had this really weird message from the Jojo Mart, just telling us they want our support and stuff like that. I don't know, I just found it really sus. Now that obviously Beans and Toast were old enough, we was able to go down to Marnie's little ranch and buy ourselves another new chicken, which we named Pepper. As I was searching around the town, I managed to come across a little mine shaft, and this random guy in here gave me a rusty sword. Now obviously I saw a ladder and I started venturing downwards. I managed to get some random pieces of copper and a few different bits of ore, but I managed to head home and I got to meet our nice new little chicken, Pepper. We then leveled up during our sleep and we started day number 7. On day number 7, as I was obviously coming outside my house, Clint, he gave me a blueprint for our first furnace. Now obviously with the copper ore that we got while mining, I was able to cook some copper ore into some copper bars, which is going to allow us to create a number of different crafting items. After getting further along in the mines, I found my first chest, and we got some leather boots with +1 immunity and +1 defense. I obviously needed an upgrade if I was going to go further down in the mine, so I bought myself a wooden sword and saw there was a list of different items that I could get. On day number 9, I went down to the beach and I found some shells, so we could sell those, and then I had a little adventure to the town hall. However, it was in ruins, and Mayor Lewis was telling me that obviously this used to be the community centre. There was some weird writing and a few other rooms in this place, but I didn't really know what it was for. On day number 10, it was obviously spring, and we was getting very into the swing of things of spring now, but obviously as the UK weather normally does, it started to rain a absolute crap ton. But we had a mysterious message in the post. The wizard has sent us a message to go meet him at his tower, so I did exactly that. Look at this guy. He sent us on some weird acid trip. I have no idea what's going on. But then we apparently learned the language of the Junimo Scrolls. I don't know. I have no thing for this. But I then took myself over to Marnie's ranch to purchase even more chickens. We got ourselves a little wombus, and I decided to go have a look at him. Look how cute he is! He's actually so adorable. Little wombus. He's amazing. On day number 11, we got our first little mission to go find Robin's axe, and they would reward us with 250 gold. I went down a little ways below our farm, and I managed to find an axe next to this horseradish, just chilling in the forest, as you do. I then had another message saying that the bookseller was in town. Apparently this is a new 1.6 Stardew Valley thing. I don't know, but the books was way too expensive, and you know, we did not have the budget for this. So I took Robin's axe back to her house, and we could eventually return the axe to her and get the 250 gold we were promised. On day number 12, we had a visit from Marnie. Now, she had a little companion with her. Look at this little guy, look how cute he is. So she actually said whether I wanted to adopt him or not. So I had to come up with a name, and I went with the name Rocky, which was actually my pet IRL. So we now have Rocky as our farm little guardian. But now I can actually read the messages in our community centre. I was actually be able to complete our first bundle. So I could turn in some items and get a reward. And our reward were seeds. Yeah. But we unlocked the next bundle completion, which is crops. And then we could also start fishing and try and complete the fish bundles as well. On day 13, it was actually the first event. So this was actually the Easter event. So there was a few different items that I could buy. Obviously, strawberry seeds were probably going to be the best option. However, I couldn't do that. We could only allow to use animals in this playthrough. So we started the Easter egg hunt. Now, obviously, I wanted to win. So I tried my best trying to find as many eggs as I could. We had 50 seconds to try and find as many eggs as I could. I managed to find quite a few. There was a few hiding in very conspicuous places here. But in the end, I managed to get about 8 eggs, I believe. And Abigail won. We lost. 8 eggs and I lost. I actually couldn't believe it. So I got no prize. Like, on day 14, we woke up and look at our little chickens. They were producing so many eggs. This was absolutely amazing. I needed some clay, so I decided I was just going to try and just till the whole thing. And I got my one piece of clay. I needed 10 of these, so it was going to be a little while before we could make our next item that we needed. At the beginning of day 15, I went and bought myself a bang upgrade, and then I went mining, managing to get down to the next level and got myself a really cool sword. After a hard day at the mines, I decided to go home and we actually leveled up in combat. The next day, on day 16, our chickens had produced so many eggs. This was amazing. It really was. Having so many eggs so early on, it was actually just a moneymaker for us. So I put some hay down in the little chicken coop, and then I went back to mining and exploring the mine shafts. We needed a load of stone if I was going to be able to make any like coop upgrades or any barns, anything like that. But I managed to get to level 30 in the mines and decided to call it quits for the night. After that, on day 18, I decided to visit the museum. Now, the museum, they didn't have a single piece of in their collection, so I could actually fill it up myself. So I put down an ancient seed that I got in a mine shaft, and we got 250 gold just for doing that. I then obviously needed to get some more clay, So I celebrated that, obviously. It took a little while. But on day 19, we got a little parcel from our mum. She gave us our favourite cookies, which was very, very nice. After collecting all the clay that we needed, I decided to go and see Robin again, because we'd be able to build our silo. With our copper bars and our clay, we could build a silo because we was going to need to collect a crap ton of hay. So I decided to build the silo right below our little coop area, just like this. There we go. We had a very good location for our silo. So while Robin was working on our silo, I decided to put down some paths. I don't know, I just wanted some paths and some walkways in our nice new little farm. We're going to have to make the place look nice, you know. Don't mind all the mining places there, but it's fine. I then gave Linus, this homeless man, a gift. I gave him a nice little plant and he really seemed to like it. After getting down into like level 40 in the mines, it was getting pretty scary and there was some bats down here. I was able to collect some bat wings, but it was a pretty scary experience. On day 21, we actually got some gold from Marnie for actually just feeding our little animals. I then decided to go to the mine and keep mining and going down levels, and we got ourselves a master slingshot. And then we could actually unlock iron ore. I got down far enough in the mine where we was able to get a new ore type. After a very, very long day, I decided, you know, I needed some sleep. So I headed to bed, and on day 22, I went to get some fishing. And I got a nice little treasure chest with some bait inside. I also got a river jelly, which would be used later on. Using the copper we had mined, I was able to eventually afford a copper pickaxe upgrade. Now this was gonna allow us to get a steel pickaxe. On the way back, there was some kids playing around near the sewer, and they found a strange noise, which seemed pretty terrifying, to be honest. I don't know if I really wanted to go down there, but they were scared and I decided to check it out. And it was pretty scary, so I quickly left that zone and I went back home. I then collected some hay for our silo by just siphoning some grass. After heading to bed, I actually managed to level up farming and we unlocked the Mayo machine. But on day 24, it was actually the Flower Dance Festival. So I went to check out what they had and I bought myself a seasonal plant, as you do. But I witnessed the flower dance and then I decided, you know, it's a dance. So I didn't have anyone to dance with, so I just headed home. But we was able to get a mayonnaise machine. Now this was going to be crazy for us, as this was going to allow us to turn eggs into mayonnaise and sell stuff for a crap ton more. Figuring this out, I decided, you know, why not put down a second one? So that's exactly what I did. We could have double the mayonnaise production. As I headed back to Clint, I wanted to pick up my brand new shiny copper pickaxe. There we go, we had an upgrade. As I was then decided to go into the mines, we had a little bit of a bat situation. With my brand new sword and my new pickaxe, I was able to just about take care of, aka escape the bats. But look, we had our first mayonnaise. Look at this. We was literally far in the mayonnaise production. Obviously, you have to pet little Rocky on the way, but you know, in the swing of things, I was, why not? Let's just put down even more mayonnaise machines. So that's exactly what I did. On day 26, I continued my mayonnaise empire. But I decided if we was really gonna, you know, improve things years into our future on this farm, we was gonna need to build a new paddock for some bigger creatures. But on day 29, it was actually our first day of summer. So I took some, obviously, gemstones that we had to our museum, and we got ourselves some melon seeds, which you can't really use, but, you know, it's fine. I then had a little trip over to Robin's house because I needed to build a barn. Obviously, if we wanted bigger creatures or bigger animals, we was going to need a barn to put them in. So that's exactly what I did. I then went down to the beach and Leah was there, so I gave her a gift, as you do, you know, and then picked up some more sea urchins. On the way back, I decided I was going to upgrade my axe to a copper axe. After a quick trip to the mines, I went into the Adventurers Guild, and you know what, I had a look for a brand new sword. However, when I talked to this guy in the chair, he actually gave me an insect head, which done 20 to 30 damage and had +2 speed, which was crazy. This is the strongest weapon I had ever. It's insane. On day 35, we was getting into like the very start of summer now. We was getting into the swing of things. So I filled up Little Rocky's bowl, and I was actually able to complete the summer foraging bundle and collect a new reward, which was summer seeds. Seeds. Again. It was fine, because I was able to unlock the geologist, I guess, steam room bundle, which eventually would allow me to unlock the minecart. We was able to eventually buy our first cows, which was pretty cool. So I added Daisy to our collection and a few other cows, and then headed to bed for the night. We managed to get our first pine tar by putting a tap on a tree, and then we had a visit from Demetrius, and he was actually either going to turn our cave into a mushroom farm or a fruit bat farm, which was really cool. So the bats we decided to go for, and they was going to drop fruit just in the cave every so often. I then managed to get slowly further down into the mines, and we got a little crystal dagger. As I was coming back, George came out of his house and he said that people was going through his trash. However, it was just Linus. I then took my demolition skills down into the mines again, and I got myself a even better slingshot, which was crazy. The next day I went to have a look at our bats, and look how much different types of fruit they had dropped. So they had dropped an orange, some blueberries, salmon berries, and a few other fruits. Today was actually the next festival, however I forgot to bring an item to put into the vat. So I had a look in the shop, and I technically couldn't even do the event, which kind of sucked. However, it was my fault, so I just missed the event, to be honest. That was my... I then decided I was going to need another coop, so that's exactly what I did. I then went up to the little steam room that we had, and I completed another bundle, and from it we got an extra furnace. We managed to get our first large egg, and this was going to allow us to get some high quality mayonnaise, different star mayonnaise, which was going to sell for a lot more. However, as I was going down into the mines, the enemies were getting a lot tougher. But eventually I managed to get down to the next level, and we got ourselves some fire walker boots, which had +3 defense and +3 immunity, which is kind of insane. I then went and found this kind of little shop, and this nice little mouse was selling a cap for 1,000 gold. So, you know what? I thought I'd give him some business, and I bought my cap. There we go. So I grabbed the cap and put it on my head, and look at us! Look at the little cap. It actually suited us pretty good. I liked it. I made a beehive, and then we was actually able to get our first wild honey, which is an artisan good. We was going to need that for one of the bundles, so I put it in a chest. And I decided, obviously, we needed to kind of connect everything. So I went and I purchased a few more chickens for our brand new coop. So we had Gachi, and we had Frupa, and we had one more little chicken, Gru. Look how adorable all these chickens was. These are so freaking adorable. I love them when they're babies. It's just so adorable. As I contributed a few more things to the mine, I got myself a nice little decoration. And then I got the level up of foraging. So I could either do trees for 25% more wood, or get a chance at a double harvest of foraged items. I thought I would probably going to need a lot more wood, so I decided to become a forester. As I'd been mining so much, I had managed to get every different type of quartz that I needed, and I was able to complete another bundle, so I collected my rewards and I got some Omni Geodes, which was pretty cool. So I took them over to Clint, and yeah, I got some stone. I then able to make a little beer jar tap thing. And then I was able to finally milk my cows, which was going to allow us to get some very needed milk. We'd actually leveled up our mining skills, so we had the option of geologist or miner. I feel like the geologist was a lot better because you had a double chance to get more gems. It just made sense in my mind. However, I woke up the next day on day 46 to a very strange event. A green rain had descended upon the valley and there was trees literally everywhere. So I took out my lovely axe and started chopping down all these random green trees. I got some mossy seeds. This is really strange. I don't know what was going on, but I decided to take the most of it, and every bush I was destroying, I was getting some moss, so it was a weird event. And there was even some weird trees like this, which dropped some ferns. I had no idea. A couple of days of farming later, I decided I was going to need another silo if obviously when it got to autumn and winter, our grass was going to die, so I built a second silo which was allow us to have double the amount of hay in winter. We got our first actual wine, so we got a blackberry wine, which was pretty cool. Although it does give us -1 speed if we consume it, but you know, someone might want some wine in the future. As I couldn't see anything on the farm, I decided to add some copper braziers just around our farm, and it kind of added a nice touch. As I was asleep that night, on day 51, there was a mysterious plane that dropped some mysterious boxes onto our Stardew Valley world, which was very strange. I woke up in the morning and we had some extra honey. But our fence had taken a beating overnight and it had all disintegrated, so I decided it was time for an upgrade and I changed it all to stone fences. I'm sure our chickens will appreciate that. But obviously as I went into our little coop, look how much eggs there was. Our chickens were in full production right now. I decided our paths could use a little bit of TLC, so I decided to go with a stone walkway instead. However, this was very expensive and I was very poor. I then collected some hay for our new silo to try and fill it up a bit, just so we had some growing and yeah, we would have unlimited amounts of hay. Willie sent me a message saying he had a new fishing pole, so I done some fishing and you know what, I had a little visit. So I went to Willie's and we could actually buy ourselves a fiberglass fishing pole, which was going to allow us to put bait onto the fishing rod, and obviously fishing would be a lot easier at that point. So I spent 1,800 gold on a new fishing rod, you know, and obviously I had to test it out. After our little fishing adventure, I decided to go back and complete another bundle, so we completed a little adventurers bundle, and there we go, we had actually completed the boiler room. So we got a small magnet ring, which was pretty cool, but look, this was very strange. So the Juminos had just fixed the boiler room in a community centre and everything was actually fixed. So they took a star over to the fireplace and we actually completed our first star out of 6 stars, which was really cool. Overnight, in our dreams, the Juminos actually had repaired this minecart as well. So there was a minecart by our farm and that was actually just to allow us to get around the map so much quicker. It was insane. I went over to Robin's and I was going to look what I needed for a bigger coop. So I needed 10,000 gold, 400 wood and a lot of stone. So on day 51, it was actually the first day of autumn. We managed to get some maple syrup from this tree, but obviously it being autumn, we had to step up our game very, very quickly. We was making a decent amount of money from our mayonnaise farms, and I decided obviously to finally be able to fix the path. I managed to make a preserving jar, as this was going to make us some jam, obviously for some recipes later on, and obviously just to sell. So I got one of our salmon berries and chucked it in the preserving jar. Mayonnaise production was in full swing, so I added a 4th mayonnaise machine, and that was going to allow us to create even more mayonnaise, and I got a nice little patent. So I done some redecoration real quick. I don't know what I was doing, but I made it look a tiny little bit better. Eventually I had enough stuff to be able to upgrade one of our coops into a bigger coop. We got our first jam jar, and I added even more mayonnaise machines. We have 6 of them now. Our mayonnaise production was insane. Now we actually leveled up our farming, and we could actually get either 20% more for our mayonnaise, which was going to make us so much more money. We unlocked the lightning rod, wild seeds and warp totem, and then we went to say hi to our new coop. So we had a space for more chickens, and we actually had an incubator now, so I could put an egg in there and eventually we had another chicken. I wanted to obviously go to Marnie's ranch, and we could actually unlock ducks now. So I bought Rukimi and I bought Wella, and I wanted to go and visit our cute new little baby ducks. Look at them! Oh my god, they're so adorable. Obviously, now it was autumn, there was some autumn forageables. I also got this book, which allowed us to get even more wood from trees. I then done some fishing in our tiny little pond. Next, I wanted to upgrade my tools, so obviously I got my pickaxe, and we could eventually spend 5,000 gold to be able to make the next pickaxe. Now, Linus had lost his basket, and I was actually searching. I was searching so much, there were so many blackberries around, but I did eventually find his basket on this little road. I don't know what he was doing over here, but I went over to the little spa area, and you know, I gave him back his basket. And I took a little dip in the spa as well while I was there. As you do. So relaxing. I then went over to our community centre and put in a mushroom, a plum, a hazelnut and a blackberry to be able to complete our full foraging bundle. And what did I get? More seeds. I then went back home, and with my new and improved house I managed to obviously make a few dishes. We made some eggs and a roots platter, and then I went and picked up my steel pickaxe. Using and donating some stuff to the museum, I got this thing. It just made sound. It was pretty cool though. On day 67, I realised I was going to need a lot more space. So I went and I spent 15,000 gold on a new shed. And we was going to put that right next to our other house. And that was going to allow me to put 1,000,000 more chests around into the shed and just have so much more storage. It was crazy. Then I went over to Pierre's, and Abigail was in there. And it was her birthday, so I gave her a little birthday gift. I then went down into the mines, and I found this. We found our first starfruit drop, and that was going to increase our energy. Craziness. How sick is that? And obviously it made us think about wraps. Of course, the best things ever. The next day we had a message at our letterbox, and it was actually about the Stardew Valley Fair that is happening tomorrow. So I went and I collected all my eggs, and this Stardew Valley Fair was apparently one of the biggest in the actual calendar year. It's crazy. But the shed was finally complete, and we had all this room for activities. Now, I decided I was going to turn this into a massive storage room. So I made a little layout here, and then it was time for the Stardew Valley Fair. I went in here and had a look at a few different items, but the first thing I noticed was the star drop. Now, to get this, I had to complete in a load of different minigames, including this one, which I absolutely rinsed, by the way. I think I spent at least 2 hours on this, but, you know, I got pretty good at it by the end. I then, you know, in fashion, done some gambling and lost all my star drops, so I went to fishing instead. Weren't very good at that either, so I went back to the other one, and yeah, we eventually was able to get ourselves the star drop. Now, I displayed our 9 items that we was being judged on here. We had a rainbow shell, some honey, some mushrooms and stuff like that. However, we came second place, and our prize was actually some more star tokens. But I had enough of that, so, you know, I left the fair and I headed back home to bed. As I was sleeping, a new little chicken hatched and we named it Bunda. Because, I don't know, but we had a little baby chicken in the morning. So, there we go, little Bundas in there, and the chickens were allowed to go eat. And then I went over to our little museum and donated a few more pieces. Our museum was looking pretty good. As a reward, we got this massive teddy bear, which is freaking cool, by the way. So, obviously, I pretty much rushed back home and put it right at the end of my bed. On day 73, we went down into the mines. It was pretty challenging. I was getting all the way down to the lowest level, and eventually I got there. And in a chest, there was a skull key. I had no idea what this was used for, but I accepted that as my reward. I then went home and obviously started selling some of our prestigious mayonnaise. We was making so much money from mayonnaise. Our mayonnaise empire was booming right now. After doing some farming, I got a cheese press, a hardwood fence and some quality sprinklers by leveling up in farming, which was sick, by the way. I then found out with my new steel axe, I could actually go to a little secret area and I could actually farm hardwood in here, which was actually going to be very useful for all the buildings in the future. These little logs here gave hardwood and they actually refresh every single day. And there was some weird, like, Odin statue here. It was really cool. Now we had the cheese press, and we have our cows producing milk. We was able to make a new product to sell to the market. So I placed down my 2 cheese presses that I made here, and we could eventually grab the milk that I'd already stocked up and put it into the cheese press, and eventually we would have some OP milk. As I went down into our little coops, there was actually our first duck feather and a load more eggs, but as you see here, a little while later, we had a load of mayonnaise and a crap ton of cheese. With all the hardwood I had gathered, I was able to eventually make a stable, which is really cool, and obviously having a horse in our farm is going to just make him just travelling the map so much quicker. It's great. I started planning for the future by making a few more fences, or paddocks I guess, and I wanted to not make them all just square, so I kind of done this in a weird shape, but I feel like it turned out pretty well. I added some gates as well, just to keep the chickens in, or out. Apparently they just get everywhere, but then eventually the next day I was able to name my horse, so I named him Bolt, which I feel like was a pretty cool name. Obviously I had to take Bolt for a little spin. There was literally trees everywhere, so I couldn't really take him anywhere. But, you know, Bolt was actually so good. This evening it was actually time for the Halloween event. So we had an option to buy a few different things here, like a gravestone and a jack-o'-lantern. So I made a few purchases, and then it was time to go to the spooky maze. After talking to a few NPCs here, Harvey and Maru, I think that's how you pronounce it, I then dodged a spider on the way through the maze and ended up at this chest, and I managed to get a golden pumpkin. I don't know what the golden pumpkin's for, but I put down our jack-o'-lanterns, and that was pretty much the end of the Halloween event. Now it was time for winter, so those jack-o'-lanterns literally just disintegrated the day after. I didn't know that was going to happen, so we had our jack-o'-lanterns for literally like a day. I then picked up all the mayonnaise and then put it into our little bin. Apparently it was the squid festival in town, so I went over to our ocean on boat and I was able to catch a few different species of fish, including our first squid, which was really cool. I went over to our community centre and it was time to actually buy the next bundle, so obviously I was able to spend 42,000 gold and buy a load of different rewards, and that would eventually unlock the bus service for us, which was really cool. I kept getting things that I couldn't really use, like this fertilizer I had no use for, but you know, you get what you get, right? But the last reward was actually a crystallarium, which would actually duplicate any gems that we got, which was really sick. We then got our second star for completing the bus repair room. I guess it's the office, but yeah, we got our second room, and then I went and placed down a fish tank that I bought from the little squid festival. So I put a couple of fishes in there, and I just feel like it made our home look very nice. Then it was time to obviously sleep the night away, and on that night, the Juminos actually repaired the bus for us, which was really cool, and we unlocked the ability to go on the bus. So the next day I did just that, and Pam was waiting for us at the bus stop. She drove all the way to a new location, and this location was actually the desert. How sick does this look? I'd never been here before. So yeah, I explored for a little bit and see what there was to offer. Obviously I had a look in the shop first of all, and there was a few cool different bits here. There was a desert oasis as well. I don't really know. Sandy was the shop owner. I bought a little cactus, and there was like a guy who was Men in Black in the corner. And then I found a cave, and this is what the skull key was actually used for that we got at the bottom of the mine, which was really cool. My intrigueness got the better of me, and I went down here and I absolutely got destroyed. So I woke up in the hospital with a little bit of a medical bill, but I was okay. I think. I was not expecting it to be that hard, to be honest, but it was. I eventually went over to the community centre and I wanted to complete the exotic foraging bundle. And that was going to allow us to eventually get the bridge repaired. Once I complete this construction bundle, there we go, we can get another reward just like this, and we had completed the craft room. And that was going to give us our third star. How sick is that? We're actually halfway there in the community centre already. The next day I quickly went to have a look at the quarry which we unlocked by doing the bundle we just had completed, which was pretty cool. However, it was time for the ice fishing festival in winter. Now listen, I'm not the best ice fisher, I'm going to say that right now. But, you know, I took part in the festival as much as I could, and it was time to fight the competition. So, obviously, I threw out my fishing rod, as you do, into this tiny little ice pond, and it was time to collect as many fish as possible. So, I got 1, I got 2, and eventually I got a 3rd fish. And I'm pretty sure Willie had like 15 fish by the end of this. So, I got absolutely destroyed. And then I went home. That was pretty much the ice fishing done. I can't fish. Don't ask. I then started the production of gold, as we were probably going to need a gold pick at some point. So I then went exploring on our farm, and I found there was a little bridge over the other side of the river. What, has this actually been here the whole time? I honestly couldn't believe it. Like, for real, honestly. It was crazy. So I took a little while, cleared some stuff, and then I went and donated a few different items to the museum. I got a few rewards to go with it. This time we got pumpkin seeds and an obsidian vase. It was an okay reward. And then I upgraded the little storage room and added some lights to it. I then found this mysterious message and it said, "Wait for your dawn of the 3rd year for my return," which was a strange message to get on your farm. I don't know. But I went down and I placed this thing, which was a worm bin, so I could get bait. It would just passively generate bait, and then I managed to craft a trash recycler as well, so I could put all the trash from fishing in there and get a load of different items. Once I'd done that, I then went over to our little coop and we had a new baby duckling. So obviously I just went with the name it gave me and I named it Roz. Our chickens and our ducks, look at this coop, it was actually so cool. On day 99 was actually the first day of the night market, which was really cool. So I went over to this lady and she gave me an espresso coffee, so I drank that instantly. I then bought a few candy canes, as you do. I don't know. And then there was this mystical show going on. I was actually lost for words at this point. I still don't know what was going on. I think at this point I was actually stunned because I don't know what just happened. So after that, I went to bed. We made a lot of money though, so that was the main thing. I still have no clue. I don't get it. But we got an invite to our Winter Star Festival, which was basically going to be the Christmas festival. I then went and obviously mined some rocks using some explosives I had learned, of course, and then donated some more items to our little museum. However, we didn't get a reward this time. On day 105, I decided I was going to go and improve one of the coops, aka the big ass barn. We're going to need another barn. So this was going to be for sheep or anything bigger animals in the future, maybe some goats, anything like that. But I was just going to prepare and see what I could actually make. So we would have to start off with our little barn and probably upgrade it at a later point. So obviously I'd already made the little area that was going to have the barn, so I did what I did and I placed it exactly where I wanted to put it. After a few days of resource harvesting, I managed to make this mushroom log which could passively generate mushrooms for us. I then went to bed as it was getting to Christmas Eve, which is kind of crazy. And we were making a lot of money at this point every single day using our, obviously, animal empire. It was great. It was great. A mayonnaise empire was going off the charts. I then had a reminder in the post that tomorrow, the Winter Star Festival, I had to get the secret friend Harvey a gift. So I thought, you know what, I'll get him a coconut, of course. On day 109, it was Christmas Day, the day of the Star Festival. So I woke up in my pyjamas this time. I went out and said hello to the chickens for Christmas Day, making sure they all had enough food, and obviously collecting some eggs to make some breakfast. I then put on my farmer's outfit and walked all the way over to the Star Christmas Festival. Now, I didn't know what I would obviously expect to happen here, but there was a nice little roast lunch for everyone to enjoy. I obviously spoke to a few people at the Christmas festival, and then went and had a look what options and obviously cool things there was to buy. So there was a few different things like string lights, some dining tables, some wood panels, log panels, and of course the tree of the winter star, but I had already purchased one before, so it was time to give Harvey his secret gift. This, I was giving him the golden star coconut. I'm sure he'd like that, right? He said, "Oh, so it's you," and he went, "Ah, a coconut." I don't think he really liked my gift, I'll be honest. Then it was time for me to receive my gift. So I believe this is Jazz, and she gave me a cute little present for me to open, and of course we looked at the Christmas tree first. And she said she got it from the beach, so I was expecting something cool, and I got a piece of clay. Clay. I couldn't believe it. After all this time, I got a piece of clay. So that was basically our 112 days, it turned out to be. 112 days is 1 year in Stardew Valley. So yeah, that's basically what we got up to on our 1 year in Stardew Valley. I hope everyone enjoyed the little video here. It's something completely different. Obviously, I'll drink some mayonnaise. But yeah, if you want to see any other videos, if you want me to do 200 days on Stardew Valley, then put it in the comments below. Obviously, this was my first time pretty much ever properly playing Stardew Valley, so I might have got things very, very wrong. But I hope everyone enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. If you do want to go check out some of my other videos, there is a link in the description below. I would appreciate it. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next one.